people screaming and people crying and "Mama, where are you, Mama?" The little kids.
That was somebody who was inside the scene of yet another mass shooting in this country, and yet another place Americans thought was once safe. This time a church, previously a concert, a movie theater, a school. After each event, active shooter experts trying to determine what we can learn to be safer and maybe even prevent the next one. We're joined this morning by Jim McBride. He handles infrastructure protection in the office, the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security. Thanks for being here with us, Jim.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about what we've seen the last few days there in Texas. Do you think here in Oklahoma and across the country, churches will maybe start making changes because of what we saw?
They are. We've already seen them, both before this shooting and certainly since this shooting, requesting more training. More and more churches are having uniformed armed security at them than they did in the past. They realize that they can and are becoming targets. They're using more locked doors once church starts. They'll have someone at the door that then monitors who comes in and who comes out. But we've worked with churches for several years, and of course it's increasing now.
And unfortunately, as we see these active shooter situations over the past decade or so, it's really changed a lot of American life, not just churches, but schools too.
It has definitely. From my era, having no one in the school, to now having armed law enforcement officers that are specially trained. Most of them are school resource officers, which is kind of a special training within law enforcement itself. They do have additional training a school resource officer does to get inside the schools and properly handle things.
And the way law enforcement now responds to these has certainly changed too. We've seen that from perhaps Columbine on, where it went from this idea of waiting outside the school until you could talk to the people, establish contact, and now they're just going right in the moment that call comes out.
And that's exactly right, yes. Both from their response, now responding with sirens, blaring as opposed to trying to be stealth and sneak up on them, to, like you say, Columbine was the big change in all of that. You used to have an entire SWAT team, TAC team, whatever you want to call it, before they would make entrance into the school. Nowadays, if there's 2 officers, that's great, but if there's only one officer goes in.
And Jim, I know you go across the state here talking to different organizations about what to do in active shooter situations, but most importantly, you say trying to prevent an active shooter situation.
Our goal is to train people what they can do to help prevent, what to look for in others, who to report it to, see something, say something. You've heard that over and over, but that's kind of one of our emphasis on that. But it is. Prevention of and respond to active shooter is a type of training we offer from our office.
And what do you tell people in terms of what to look out for? What are some of the common warning signs or things people should be looking about in daily life?
They're different for each event, obviously, but everybody has some leakage. In other words, there's some type of a tell that they do that say, I'm getting ready to do something that I don't normally do. If it's a co-worker of yours, talking business-wise, it's a lot easier to see because you've interacted with that person for months, years, several years maybe, and all of a sudden their behavior changes. They start doing something that's out of the norm for them. If it's someone from the outside is really the hardest one to prevent. But even in there were several tells out of the one out of Texas that we should have picked up on.
We heard from the pastor who said he saw the suspect a few days before at the Halloween party. He said he just got this feeling something wasn't right. So in that case, people often feel that it's wrong to go and report it to law enforcement because you don't want to be, somebody who's accusing somebody of perhaps doing something that they may not have any intentions to do. So how do you tell people to get over that feeling of, trying to imply somebody may be doing something wrong?
Well, what you said there is very good. He had the feeling, whether you call it gut feeling, sixth sense, woman's intuition, we have it, and we need to act on it. Something didn't feel right at the Halloween party, as you said. They need to report that. I saw this, I saw that. A lot of times there's nothing police can do about it. But you see him doing one thing, I see him doing something else, a third party sees something else. If all 3 of those are reported, all of a sudden they say, hey, we've got a problem with Jim, something's going on there with him, we're getting these reports. One of them by themselves may not be enough to trigger anything. 2 or 3 of them by themselves trigger, we need to look further into this.
Sure. Now, as we have these conversations, of course, we do after each one of these events, it's still very rare that one would find themselves in a situation like this in our country, right?
It is, yes. Yes, it is.
And so, you know, we have to keep that in mind as we talk about these for sure. But if you were in a situation like in the church event, what are the basic premise you tell people in terms of how to try to get yourself out of that situation alive?
Well, first of all, they need to have a plan ahead of time. If you wait until the situation is upon you, you're going to have a hard time responding to it. The way we're hardwired in our brain, the fight or flight that we've all heard about for years, well, there are really 3 F's that our brain does, and the third one is freeze, fight, flight, or freeze. The freeze is going to get you in trouble. You need to have a plan for flight, you need to have a plan for fight, and you need to think about it ahead of time. If I'm sitting in the back pew at the church and somebody comes in, you know, he turns his back to me, maybe I jump him. If somebody comes in, I just get up and walk out. Start now looking at what you're going to do. If you wait until the event happens, your brain's going to have a hard time processing that data.
Okay. And if organizations are watching this, if companies are watching this, nonprofits, does the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security provide this training where you guys go out and talk to groups?
We do, but it doesn't. Companies or nonprofits, any group, we do have a minimum requirement of people, obviously for utilization of our time. We don't want to go out and do the presentation for 4 or 5 people, sure. but usually at a 25 is kind of where the minimum starts. Maximum is pretty much dictated by the size of the audience or the size of the room that the audience is going to be attending it in.
Okay, so they can reach out to the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security for more information. Jim McBride, thank you so much for joining us.